I analyzed 4,281 Upwork proposal jobs, and I found something that can save freelancers more time, more money than any other proposal template ever will. The biggest problem is not always the proposal. Sometimes the problem is the job you selected before you ever started writing. A freelancer can create an excellent proposal, include strong examples, respond quickly, and still have almost no chance of getting hired. Why? Because some clients were never serious buyers in the first place. Some are only gathering information. Some post jobs and never hire anyone. Some want expert-level work for beginner-level prices. And some create so much confusion that even winning the job may become a mistake. After reviewing thousands of opportunities, I began to recognize patterns. In this video, I'm going to show you the types of Upwork clients in job positions freelancers should approach very carefully, and in many cases avoid completely, because the goal is not to submit more proposals. The goal is to submit proposals where there is real opportunity to win profitable work. I have worked on Upwork for more than 15 years. I have completed more than 1,434 jobs and have earned over $1 million. I built a top-rated plus agency with 98 job success scores. Over the years, I have seen strong clients, difficult clients, serious buyers, price shoppers, repeat customers, and people who were never truly prepared to hire. One of the most expensive lessons I learned was this: not every job deserves a proposal. Freelancers often believe that more applications automatically create more opportunities. But when the wrong jobs are selected, more proposals simply create more wasted connects, more unanswered applications, and more discouragement. Job selection is not a small part of bidding process. Job selection is the beginning of the sale process. Why freelancers apply to the wrong jobs? Many freelancers apply emotionally. They see a project that matches one of their skills, and they immediately think, I can do this. But being able to complete the work does not automatically make it a good opportunity. The better questions are, is this client prepared to hire? Does the budget match the request? Is the scope clear enough to price? Does the client history suggest that they actually award contracts? Can I show highly relevant proof? Would I still want this project after reading every detail carefully? The difference between struggling freelancers and strategic freelancers is often not how well they write. It is how carefully they decide where to compete. Let's look at the client pattern I would avoid. Client type 1, the client who posts but rarely hires. One of the first things I review is the client hiring history. Has this client posted several jobs but hired very few freelancers? Do they consistently receive proposals without awarding contracts? A client may post 10 jobs and hire only once. That does not automatically mean the current opportunity is fake, but it is a warning sign. There may be several explanations. The client may be using Upwork to compare pricing. They may be posting before the project is approved. They may be collecting ideas. They may be indecisive. Or they may simply abandon projects after receiving proposals. Freelancers often ignore this because the job description sounds exciting. But a compelling project with a client who rarely hires may still be a poor use of your connects. Before applying, look for the evidence that the client has actually spent money in completed projects. A history of hiring does not guarantee success, but it gives you a stronger evidence that the client understands how Upwork works and is prepared to make a decision. Client type 2, the unrealistic budget client. The second type is a client who requests a major project with very small budget. You may see someone asking for a complete website design, e-commerce functionality, membership features, search engine optimization, copywriting, branding, mobile optimization, ongoing support, and their budget is obviously unrealistic. That is not simply a low-budget project. It is often reflected as a lack of understanding about the amount of work involved. Some freelancers apply because they believe they can negotiate later. Occasionally, that works, but more often, the posted budget reveals how the client currently values the project. Even if the client increases the budget slightly, you may still be spending the entire contract defending your price. A realistic client may not know the exact final cost, but they usually understand that professional work requires an appropriate investment. Be especially careful when the client wants senior level expertise, immediate delivery, unlimited revision, and ongoing support, all within a beginner budget. That combination frequently leads to frustration. Client type 3, the vague client with no clear outcome. Some job descriptions are so vague that it is impossible to understand what success looks like. They may say, I need help with my website, looking for marketing expert, need someone experienced, message me for details. A short job description is not always bad. Some serious clients are simply busy. But when the description gives no clear problem, no scope, no goal, and no indication of what the client wants to accomplish, you are bidding with very little information. That makes it difficult to estimate the project. Choose relevant examples, write a targeted proposal, or determine whether the job matches your expertise. Vague jobs can also create scope problems after the contract begins. When the client has not defined the results, expectations can keep changing. Before applying, ask whether you can clearly explain what the problem is the client is trying to solve, what outcome do they want, what would my first step be. If you cannot answer those questions from the description, proceed carefully. Client type number 4, free consultant on shoppers. This client wants a great deal of expert guidance before making any commitment. They may ask you, audit their entire website, create a full strategy, explain exactly how you would solve the problem, provide a detailed technical plan, review all their current materials. There is nothing wrong with answering reasonable questions. A serious client should understand your thinking and process, but there is a difference between demonstrating expertise and completing unpaid consultation work. Some clients collect ideas from several freelancers and then disappear. Others use interviews to educate themselves before assigning the work internally or hiring the cheapest bidder. You should be able to explain your approach without giving away the complete solution. A strong response may include your diagnosis, a relative example, the process you would follow, and the next paid step. You do not need to deliver the full strategy before a contract exists. Client type 5, the client who wants a test project that is actually real work. Some clients request a small paid test. They can be reasonable, but others ask every applicant to complete unpaid work that they can actually use. A writer may be asked to produce a full article. A developer may be asked to repair a real technical problem. A video editor may be asked to edit a finished promotional video. The client may call it a test, but if the work provides direct business value, it should generally be paid. Be especially cautious when the test is extensive or appears to be divided among several applicants. You should not have to complete the project to prove that you are capable of completing the job. Your portfolio, relevant experience, reviews, and a focused conversation should provide meaningful evidence. Client type number 6. The client was constantly changing requirements. Sometimes the warning signs appear during the interview rather than in the original job post. The client begins with one request, then adds another, then changes the platform, then changes the deadline, then introduces a different decision maker, then say the budget cannot change. Changing requirements are not always a reason to walk away. Projects evolve. New information appears, but constant changes before the contract begins may reveal poor planning or internal confusion. And if the scope is unstable before you hired, it may become even more difficult once the work starts. A professional freelancer should slow the process down, clarify the scope, document the deliverables, identify who approved the work, and confirm what is not included. If the client refuses to define the project but expect a fixed price and fixed deadline, the risk is very high. Client type 7, the client who leads with distrust. Some job posts begin with statements such as, "Do not waste my time. I have been cheated before. No excuses. Only apply if you're actually competent. I will not pay until everything is perfect." A client may have had genuinely a bad experience that deserves understanding. But when the entire relationship begins with suspicion, hostility, or threats, take that seriously. You may spend the project proving that you are not like the previous freelancer. Every small issue may be interpreted as dishonesty. Every question may be treated as resistance. Every boundary may become an argument. Professional clients can be careful without being disrespectful. Look for the client who communicates expectations clearly and treat freelancers as a business partner. You are not required to accept disrespect simply because you want the contract. Client type 8, the client shopping only for the lowest price. Some clients ask every freelancer one question: what is your lowest price? They show little interest in experience, strategy, process, or results. Their primary goal is to reduce the cost as much as possible. Price matters in every buying situation. But when the price is the only factor, the strongest freelancer is not necessarily the one who wins. The cheapest bidder often wins. And if you win by lowering your price too far, you may begin the relationship with resentment or unrealistic expectation. A good client may negotiate, but they also evaluate value. They want to know whether you understand the problem, whether you have solved something similar, and whether you can reduce the risk. Do not compete only on price unless low-cost work is intentionally part of your business model. Client type 9, the high-activity, low-decision client. This client sends many messages. They schedule several meetings. They ask detailed questions. They may appear extremely interested, but they never move toward a decision. This is dangerous because activity can feel like progress. You may spend hours responding, researching, meeting, and follow-up. Yet the client is no closer to hiring. High-intent buyers usually move forward. They confirm the scope, discuss the budget, and ask about availability, request a proposal or contract, and identify the next step. Low-intent buyers often continue the conversation without committing. After a reasonable amount of discussion, it is appropriate to ask, what would you need to make a decision? If the client cannot answer, the opportunity may not be as serious as it appears. Client type 10, the client who does not respect the platform or payment process. Be cautious when a client asks you to begin before the contract is active, or when they pressure you to move payment outside of Upwork, or when they refuse to fund a milestone, or when they say, "Start now and we will sort out the payments later." A legitimate client should understand that the contract and payment structure protect both sides. You do not need to be suspicious of everyone. You should not ignore basic business protection because the opportunity sounds exciting. Clear terms are not a sign of distrust. They are part of a professional working relationship. How to identify a high-intent client. Now that we have discussed who to avoid, what should you look for? A strong client usually provides several positive signals. The job described as real problem, the scope is reasonably clear, the budget is realistic or open for discussion, the client has a history of hiring or communicates with clear intent, the required skill match your strongest experience, you can show directly relevant proof, and the client moves toward a decision. A high-intent client may still ask difficult questions. They may still negotiate. They may still compare freelancers. But the process has a direction. There is a movement. There is a real business need behind the job. The 3 questions I would ask before applying. Before spending Connects, ask yourself 3 questions. First, does this client appear ready and able to hire? Second, do I have a strong evidence that I can solve this exact problem? Third, would winning this job be good for my business? That 3rd question matters. Freelancers often focus only on whether they can win, but a job can be winnable and still be unprofitable, stressful, or poorly aligned with your goals. The objective is not merely to get another contract. The objective is to build a sustainable freelance business. The real lesson from 4,281 jobs. After analyzing 4,281 jobs on Upwork, my biggest conclusion was not that freelancers need to submit more proposals. It was that freelancers need to become better at saying no. No to clients who rarely hire. No to impossible budgets. No to unpaid consulting disguised as an interview. And no to constantly changing scope. No to disrespectful communication. No to projects that do not match your strongest proof. Every proposal has a cost. It costs Connects, it costs time, it costs attention, and sometimes it costs confidence. When freelancers continue applying to jobs that were never strong opportunities. Better job selection does not guarantee every proposal will win, but it improves the quality of the opportunities you're entering your pipeline, and that changes everything. After more than 15 years on Upwork, I believe one of the most valuable skills a freelancer can develop is recognizing buyer's intent. You do not need to chase every job. You do not need to convince every client. And you do not need to accept every opportunity to win. Focus on clients who have real problems, a realistic commitment, and a reason to choose your expertise. In my ebook, Upwork Stats 2026, I break down real Upwork data, client patterns, proposal strategies, and the signs that separate high-intent opportunities from jobs that waste your time and Connects. The link is in the description. And tell me in the comments which is the biggest client warning sign you have experienced on Upwork. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, be freelantastic.